guys, this is Jessica with Chapter Chicks, and I am here to do a book review over An Abundance of Katherines by John Green. I gave this book a good rating, which means it's not one of the best books that I've ever read, but it's definitely better than average. It was published September 21st of 2006 by Dutton Juvenile, although this cover I think is a new release. It's actually a fan-made cover. It has 272 pages in the US paperback edition. Basically what it is about is a young boy named Colin Singleton and his best friend Hassan. Colin is very upset because he just got dumped by his 19th Katherine. He is in love with any girl that is named Katherine, with a K, not with a C, because there's a total difference. After just recently being dumped by the love of his life, the Katherine that he knew he was going to spend the rest of his life with, him and his best friend Hassan decide to go on a road trip together in order for him to get over it and for Hassan to make his parents happy because he isn't going to college and they want him to do something productive with his life. So he says that he's going to go on a road trip, and eventually they end up settling in a small town called Gutshot. Colin and Hassan settle down and start staying with this girl named Lindsay and her family, and Lindsay kind of shows them the ropes of Gutshot, and they get a small job there. And on the summer vacation, the summer road trip, Colin is trying to solve the theory, or create a theorem of breakups. And he's trying to figure out whether or not you are a dumpy or a dumper, and how long the relationship is going to last based on certain categories like attractiveness and popularity and things like that. So he tries to make his theorem work for all 19 Katherines so he can try to figure out whether or not him and his love, the love of his life, the last Katherine, will get back together, if the curve will somehow go that way. And of course it is John Green, so plenty of quirky, witty things happen, and I think my favorite part out of the whole story was the footnotes. They are so cute, they're so hilarious. I've never seen footnotes put into a novel like this, and it actually teaches you a lot of things, different little facts that nobody really needs to know but everybody wants to know. And I just think it's so funny. Technically, this is my first John Green book. I did read another one of his called Will Grayson, Will Grayson, but that was a collab with David Leviathan, so I don't really count it as a John Green book. So this was my first John Green book, and I was not disappointed. I've heard that John Green books are either you like them or you don't like them, and usually most people like them, but I have heard some people say, Stacy, that they're not that amazing, but Stacy likes plot books, and I'm much more of a character-driven reader. I love strong characters, and that is definitely John Green's forte. And when we met John Green, I said something about how hilarious this book was, and he said that he set out wanting to write a comedic book. I don't know if comedic's a word or not, but he set out to write it, and this was his production, and I totally think he succeeded. And I just loved it. If you guys want to see the video where John Green talks, I'll put a link to it over here, but it's like we put the whole thing unedited so you guys could see it as if you were there. So I know a lot of people probably don't want to sit through like 60 minutes of John Green talking, but I will say that it was very funny and it was very enjoyable. So if you want to watch it, I'll put it up there. I actually, when I was reading this, I was taking some notes. I wanted to write down things so I could talk about more specific details. And on page 19, I actually stopped just to write down that I knew that at that point that this was going to be one of the funniest books that I've read all year. And since it's December, I can safely say that's true. It was definitely and is definitely one of the funniest books that I've read all year. Like I said, John Green is definitely more of a character-driven writer, which really works for me. So the plot definitely isn't in-depth and crazy. It definitely comes full circle and has a greater meaning and all of that, but it's a lot more light and fluffy than the characters are. And I guess in some people's case that would hinder the story, but to me I think it added to it because, like I said, his characters are so in-depth that I don't really think that you can have in-depth characters and crazy stories and have a book that's so light. Like, you can have all those things, but it's a much deeper book, and it's not meant to be enjoyed as a comedy. It's probably more geared towards serious writing or fantasy or things like that if you have deep plot and deep characters. So I really like that he didn't have both. It really made it very readable because the way that he writes, I don't really feel like a plot he could do, not that he couldn't, like isn't capable, but I don't think it would be done as well if he did such a deep plot and then such in-deep, like, real characters, because the characters really do feel real to you. They have the same strange thoughts and same strange feelings that real people have, and I feel like a lot of authors try but don't really incorporate that into their books well. You can tell that they're coming from the same person, but when John Green writes his characters, they don't feel like that. They actually feel like different people, and I think that's where John Green's strong suit is. So I think if he tried to muddle in too much plot, it would just make the book not as good. Like I said, it does come full circle. It is a well thought out plot. It just doesn't get so deep and crazy that that's all you can focus on. And I think that a lot of people have the eureka moment that is discussed in the book, and like the exact same one. And I think that it's really important for teenagers to read the story, because I'm pretty sure a lot of them can relate, maybe not to the whole 19 Katherines thing, but to the whole dumpy dumper popularity and all the other stuff that happens and all the other themes that are incorporated into this book. I think that a lot of teenagers could really relate. I know that I could have used it as a teenager. Like I said, it's not really meant to be something like life-changing, but it does leave a mark on you after you read it. It's one of those books that you don't easily forget. I definitely recommend this book to anyone, at least to try it. Maybe get it from your library, and then if you like it, read it. But if you don't like it, just keep trying to read it. Just keep trying to go on, because I definitely liked it for the both of us. I think that if you like books that are real, but not too real, and if you like books that don't have paranormal events, and if you like books that, like I said, have strong characters but light plot, I think this book would definitely be a book that is for you. Also, I've been putting this on the blogs, on the written ones, but I think I'm going to start reading the first line, because my second grade elementary librarian, her name was Mrs. Otto, and she said that the best way to pick out a book is to read the back of it, or the flap, and see what it's about, and then go in and read the first page or first line, and if the writing is something that intrigues you, then it's a book that you should get, but if you don't, then, or if it doesn't, then you shouldn't get it. And I thought that was a really good basis to go by, so I'm going to read the first line. It says, "The morning after noted child prodigy Colin Singleton graduated from high school and got dumped for the 19th time by a girl named Catherine, he took a bath." So I mean, even that line, it starts off pretty humorous. So, yeah. I am Jessica with Chapter Chicks. This is my review over An Abundance of Katherines by John Green, and this chapter was for you.